Um, I want to share with you 3 types of content you can create in May. And when you're doing this, once you take the notes, just take this information, drop it in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will do the rest. Or if you like using Claude, you can do Claude too, right? So 3 types of content. The first one is clarity content. The second one is community building content. And the third one is content that sells. So one more time, 3 types of content: clarity content, community building content, and then content that sells. Those are the 3 types of content we're going to break down today. And I want to start with clarity content. This was actually my favorite type of content to create. And I don't see a lot of business owners doing this. And that's why this could be the reason why you're getting a lot of "thank you so much for your help. This is so inspiring. Cute outfit," as opposed to "where's the link so I can buy from you?" This type of content here helps your audience to make a buying decision. Why? Because this type of content is also known as mindset content. Mindset content. Some of you are accustomed to creating educational content. You hear social media influencers and gurus, they're always telling you educational content, educational content, educational content. And so what do? You overdo it with the educational content. But your educational content happens to be the content that gets the least amount of views. It happens to be the content that gets the least amount of engagement, right? And I'll tell you why in a little bit, but I want to double down on this clarity content. When you're putting out mindset content, the goal is to help your audience make a buying decision. It's to get them to go from believing one thing to another thing. If you do not get your audience to believe that they want to buy from you, guess what? They're not going to buy from you. This is something that we learn when it comes to marketing and selling, that you got to train your audience to buy from you. So if they're not trained to buy, I'm sorry for you, but you're not going to have a loyal and buying audience. And you do that by putting out mindset content. So what does it do? This type of content, it helps your audience to overcome limiting beliefs. So some of your audience right now, they have certain beliefs about themselves, and that's why they're not buying. Do you think that you're the first coach that they've ever worked with? Probably not. Do you think that you're the first person to be selling an e-course to them? Absolutely not. They probably have been in different programs before, and they have been burned by the program, not because of the coach, but because of themselves. They were inconsistent. They didn't show up. They didn't do the work. And so now they're coming to you and they're thinking to themselves, it's probably going to be the same story. I probably still won't do the work. And so that's where your mindset content comes into play, because you help them to overcome the limiting beliefs. But guess what? It's important for you to identify what is the limiting belief that your audience is believing. And you only want to talk to specific types of limiting beliefs. I'm going to give you examples. When I first started creating content and I first started marketing to my audience, one of the limiting beliefs that my dream clients had was that they had a poverty mindset. Right? They had a poverty mindset. Now, I had a poverty mindset. So I'm thinking, but I got out of it. So I'm thinking, oh, I can help other people break their poverty mindset too. But you know what was happening? People who had a poverty mindset, when I was helping them to get over that, guess what? They never had enough money to invest. Who's going through that right now? Where you're putting out content, you're asking for the sale, and people are telling you, I can't afford it. That's not in my budget. I can't buy from you right now. Let me think about it. That's a poverty mindset. And so if you keep talking to these people, what's going to happen is your sales are going to slow. It's going to slow. It's going to be hard to convert, because people with a poverty mindset believe, what if this is a scam? And if I release my money, what if I don't make it back? They are so fixated on what's in their hands, the money in their hands, as opposed to honoring a principle that says, if you sow, you will reap. If you sow, you will reap. How many of you are going through that? Every time you're selling your offer, you're getting people that's like, I can't afford. I don't have the money for that. I'm too broke for that. Mind you, I would get some people who are doing that and they make $30,000 a month. And that $30,000 a month, they're still telling me I can't afford that. That's a mindset, right? And so you could talk to them if you want to, but it's going to take a long time for you to help them overcome that belief, because they value money more than they value their transformation. That's the thing. They value money more than they value transformation. The transformation that some of you are helping your dream clients get is either for them to build more wealth, have healthier relationships, and live a better life. But for them, they don't see the value in that. They see the value in I have to hold on to this money now because if I release it, I may not get it back. And you don't want to talk to those people. It's going to be really hard to convert them. Another set of people that you don't want to talk to are procrastinators. Some of you are like, oh my goodness, that's me, right? Now, ouch, this may be offensive, but if you don't get offended easily, you will be blessed. I used to talk to procrastinators. Guess what happens when you try to sell to a procrastinator? Do you think they will buy or do you think they will procrastinate? If you think they will procrastinate, drop procrastinate in the chat. Yep, procrastinate. Yvette wrote it in the chat. When you sell to a procrastinator, they're not going to buy from you right away. They're going to procrastinate. Yes, Lolita says, I'm a recovering procrastinator. That part right there. They're going to procrastinate. Your goal on social media when you're doing digital marketing is to sell to ready to buy buyers. A procrastinator is not a ready to buy buyer. They're going to take a long time. I've had people tell me, yeah, I want to buy, but let me pray on this. Okay. I have a friend who used this exact term for people like that. They are precastinators. There are some procrastinators and precastinators. Those precastinators are the people who are like, I got to pray on this. I know, Quanda, I know. They're like, I got to pray on this. That is just another excuse to procrastinate. That's it. It's another excuse to procrastinate. What are you praying on? Is it going to give you the solution to your problem or not? Make a decision. I want you to think about, who do I want to use? I want to use King David. Let's think about King David, right? And I'm not talking about King David when he had to battle Goliath. I'm talking about King David when he was on the run from Saul. He was on the run from Saul and he came against some Philistines. And these Philistines started saying to him, isn't that David? He killed Goliath. Wait a second, isn't that him? That's David. He killed Goliath. No, we know who that guy is. And guess what David did not do? David didn't go, let me pray to God for a solution. He didn't do that. He probably would have lost his life if he procrastinated. He didn't do that. Automatically, he went into pretending like he was mad to save his life. Some of you don't have enough determination or motivation to save your business. And so you're constantly procrastinating. I'm going to pray on this. And then you don't go back to it. Oh, trust me, I used to be a procrastinator too. I'm also a recovering procrastinator. I had to stop doing that. And I started recognizing, one, I'm intelligent. Two, God made me intelligent. Three, I can make intelligent decisions. So I no longer procrastinate. I go off of, did I ask God for the solution? Did he present the solution? Do I have a relationship with this person in order for me to invest in the solution? That's what I started doing. If I ask God to send me a coach and he sent me a coach, I can't be mad at the price tag. And that's what some of you were doing. You're like, Lord, please send me a marketing coach, and he'll send you a marketing coach, and then you mad at the price tag. That don't make no sense. Why does that not make sense? Because you're violating a principle. There's a principle that is found in 2 Corinthians 9, verse 6. It says, those who sow sparingly shall reap sparingly, and those who sow generously shall reap generously. Some of you are trying to invest $27 thinking you're about to reap a six-figure business. It don't work that way. You can invest $27. You may reap $2,700. And that's it. When I invested in my first coach, I invested $6,000 and then I reaped a six-figure business. That makes sense. When you understand the laws of sowing and reaping, you recognize you can't reap where you have not sown. So some of you are over here like, Lord, let me pray about this. And then you're procrastinating. And guess what? You're not getting the results that you desire. All right. I went through that entire spiel to tell you that that's the type of mindset you don't want to talk to because they're just going to procrastinate. I'm going to give you one more. Some of you are like, girl, If we shouldn't talk to these people, who should we talk to? I'm going to give it to you in a second. I'm going to give it to you in a second on the type of minds that you do want to talk to. I'm going to give you one more mindset you don't want to talk to. Hey, Jacqueline, one more mindset is overthinkers. Overthinkers. You talk to an overthinker and you ask for the sale. What do you think they're going to do? I want you to just write it in the chat. What do you think they're going to do? If you talk to an overthinker and you ask for the sale, what do you think they're going to do? Just write it in the chat. Yeah, they're going to overthink. They're going to overthink. They're not going to invest. They're going to overthink, and then they're going to get paralyzed by analysis. Paralysis analysis is what we call it. Those overthinkers, they want to see your testimonials. They want to see your results. They want to see, are you available at 3:00 in the morning? They want to see, are you going to show up tomorrow? They're going to overthink the entire situation and not invest. Yep, Lolita said it. Yvette said it. They're going to overthink. So why talk to them? An overthinker is not a ready-to-buy buyer. They're going to take forever. Those are the people on your email list that invest 2 years later. Not because you didn't have what they wanted, but because they were too busy overthinking. And guess what happens with an overthinker? They get stuck and they stay in the same position for 2 years until they finally realize, oh, in order for this to work, I actually got to work with someone, right? So if you're in here and you're like, well, then who do we talk to? You can talk to people who have imposter syndrome. People who have imposter syndrome is often found in people who are high performers and high achievers. And they think that their gifts and their talents wasn't really given to them. And things are just happening because it's just happening. It may have been a fluke, right? If you help them to break that imposter syndrome, they will buy. The other thing is, you wouldn't really be talking to their identity of imposter. You'd be talking to their identity of high achieving and being a high performer. High achievers and high performers, they vibrate at a different frequency. What do I mean by that? I mean that they have higher energy. Big money is attracted to big energy. So when you show up in a certain way and you attract high achievers and high performers, they're going to want to invest in you. They're going to want to invest in you. They don't overthink. They already know that when I invest, I get to reap. They already know that when I show up, I get to be a blessing. They already have this in their mind. What they're looking for is some help. How do I get there? That's it. How do I get there? See, people who are overthinkers and procrastinators, they vibrate at a low frequency. Money is energy. How many of you have heard that before? How many of you have heard that money is energy and money is attracted to energy, right? So typically people who are procrastinators and people who are overthinkers, they don't make a lot of money anyway. I'm not saying all of them. I just said typically some of them are like that. They're not making a lot of money anyway, so you don't even want to attract them. But people who are high achievers and high performers, they're making a lot of money because they're the best at what they do. They just have a belief of like, is this me? Or am I really scamming people? And all you got to do is help them to overcome that imposter syndrome and they will invest. Right? So here's what I do. When I am talking to my dream clients, the first thing I do is I identify what is the mindset that they have. Some of you, the only thing you ever did was identify their pain points. And so you're talking to their pain, which is okay, but you don't know the mindset that they have. So you don't know how to talk to their mind.